Hello everyone, this is NS Steampunk. We are over at Kenyon College just east of Mount Vernon, Ohio. We are looking down this bike path, which is now the Kokosing Gape Trail. This was once the Cleveland, Akron, and Columbus rail line, later part of the Pennsylvania Railroad. And what we are looking at here is Alabama State Docks Commission Terminal Railway 060 Switcher Steam Locomotive number 63. She was built by the American Locomotive Company, also known as Alco of Schenectady, New York, in November of 1940. She operated at the Alabama State Docks Commission in Mobile, Alabama from 1940 until 1956. She was owned by the Terminal Alabama State Docks Company as TASD number 63. In 1957, she was sold to the Gulf States Paper Corporation in Holt, Alabama, and named Warrior. In 1959, she was retired and donated to the Junior Chamber of Commerce in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and displayed for 21 years at J.C. Park. In 1980, the locomotive was relocated to the Bluegrass Railroad Museum in Versailles, Kentucky, and on March 1st, 2001, she was moved to west of Versailles, Kentucky in preparation for being loaded by truck. The engine arrived in late April 2001 and was purchased and cosmetically restored for $52,000. The locomotive's total weight is 164,000 pounds, equal to 106 tons. Its boiler pop-off pressure is 200 pounds. Its cylinders are 21 by 28. The drive wheels are 51 inches in diameter. The locomotive can hold 8,000 gallons of water in its tender, and its coal bunker can hold 10 tons. Garrett, can you tell us a little bit more about this locomotive, your experiences with seeing this locomotive in person?
When I saw this engine in person and didn't even have the headlight on it or the markers when it came here, it mostly was missing everything in the cab. In April of 2001, I got to see the engine in person when I was wee little and actually sat on the footplate of the engine, on the front of the engine when it was on the semi-trailer. Seeing this engine all restored back to original glory, we had a New Hope Railroad exchange some parts to fix one of their other steam engines, being the air tank here, or the compressor tank, and also the injector. So we had parts swap off of another engine from a different railroad. So the original injector on the other one was taken off and replaced. And they repainted this whole engine in a trade offer to repaint and keep it as this restoration paint. This is actual, not an auto paint. This is a real railroad paint, what they use on their steam engines. And this should last for another couple hundred years or more. Recent times it's been moved a couple of times. So the last time they actually moved her wheels was when they were moving to do paint work on her. And when they moved her ash pans started opening up, and there was still ash from the golden age of steam hidden amongst into the steam dome, in the sand domes. There is still sand from back in the day of railroading. The other thing about this engine is you can get into the water tower or into the tender and actually see the inside of the tender. It's neat to see how the baffles actually hold the engine and moving so the water doesn't hurt it. Behind it is the nickel plate flat car and a Chesapeake and Ohio caboose. The caboose, on the other hand, used to sit over at Station Break, which is now the CA and C Depot, which we were just at.
In our previous video.
This caboose sat there at the railroad station for a number of years when it was still the senior citizen building for senior citizens. The caboose has been fully restored and restored on the inside and out. It's fully operational. The lights move and everything moves on it pretty good. The flat car has seen better days. They have replaced the wood on it a couple times.
All right, let's head on up inside the locomotive cab and see how everything works. All right, so now we are in the cab of the locomotive. Typically, you'd have two crew members in the cab. The fireman's job was to maintain the water in the boiler and to shovel coal in the firebox to help boil the water in the top of the boiler to make steam. So his job was to tend the boiler, while the engineer's job was to understand what all the controls were while operating the locomotive. The throttle is what makes the locomotive go. The steam is going from the back of the boiler to the front of the boiler through the boiler tubes. As the engineer opens the throttle lever, that will send steam up to the steam dome. That steam in turn will go down to a pipe down to where the steam chest is at, also known as the piston. As the steam moves back one way, the steam was so powerful enough that it would push the rod the other direction, and then it changes course. That will turn the wheel, and as you open the throttle up, that's when you get the loud chuffing boom, boom, boom sound and makes the locomotive go. Over here you have your reverser. This allows the locomotive to go forward when I push it forward. This puts it in neutral, and then this puts it in reverse when I pull it back like this. Now over here is the brake stand. You'd have an independent brake, which would power the brake pads on the drive wheels. You also have a brake known as your automatic brake, which would power the brakes on the train. The air would then be dropped from the cab. It would send the air down to the rest of the train, and each car had an air hose on board, thanks to George Westinghouse. Right up here is where the whistle lever was located. This engine used to have a whistle. And on this side, the fireman would be responsible for ringing the bell. These are the firebox doors, and as you can see, this is where the coal would go in the firebox to help make steam. In the back here is the coal bin, which helps hold the coal, responsible for the firebox. And in the back we have the water tank. These are the grates inside the firebox. They move so that way any coal that has become burned ash will fall through. A grate knocker would be used to insert inside these levers right here, so you could shake the grates from inside the cab. You could also do it outside of the locomotive. This pedal right here is powered by air, and that would help open and close your butterfly door. So again, these doors look exactly like butterfly wings. Thank you folks for watching this video. If you enjoyed all the videos that you've seen here, please like and subscribe. This is NS Steampunk and Kokosing Valley Model Railroader, Tower 93, over and out.